Yeah, I was a little like, what am I watching here?
Okay, batter up.
Drive-by movies. My name is Blaze.
And my name is James.
And never have I ever seen From Up on Poppy Hill.
From Up on Poppy Hill is Goro Miyazaki's first film, the son of none other than Hayao Miyazaki. It's about a group of teens that look to save their school's clubhouse from the wrecking ball in preparations for the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. So this is a movie I remember hearing a lot about. Came out about a decade ago. Yeah, it came out in 2011, so it's now officially a decade old. I remember hearing it got great reviews, and then also like it being like a big film just because it's Miyazaki's son and stuff. It's still a Studio Ghibli movie. It doesn't have that like fantasy element that a lot of other Studio Ghibli movies have, but it's still like a very fun watch, I'd say. But Blaze, like, what made you want to watch it, and what did you think of it?
So honestly, one of the reasons I picked this probably isn't have like the gravitas as a lot of the other never have I ever movies that we picked. And originally when I picked this, I honestly thought it was one of the older Miyazaki movies. Like looking at the posters, I thought like, oh, this is like one of the older ones. I think I was thinking of Only Yesterday, which I've actually seen, but I thought that it was another film kind of along that vein that was done much earlier by Hayao. But I didn't know this was actually basically Goro, his son's kind of homage to, you know, his father's like older kind of previous films that were, you know, less fantastical. But I still think that I was actually pleasantly surprised watching this movie. It was very enjoyable. It's just a very subtle, kind of delicate movie that, you know, it talks about an aspect of, you know, post World War II Japan, but at the same time isn't obviously fantastical like a lot of the other Miyazaki movies that have really captured people's hearts and captured people's imagination. So it's still pleasant, it's surprising, but this isn't like, if you're going into this movie wanting, you know, something like Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away, this isn't going to be that same movie. But I've always thought that, you know, Goro Miyazaki isn't maybe the best representation of his father, but I think he is slowly going to be delivering us movies that are, you know, to the same caliber as his father. And I think that it's a film from 2011, but is a great example of it.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good start overall. It's definitely more in the veins of like The Wind Rises, Miyazaki's or Hayao Miyazaki's last film, where it's definitely just set in a normal real world and stuff. There are some like fantasy like elements, I'd say, with like, you know, just like the overall like ridiculousness of this clubhouse and how it's built and stuff, and like how it's holding together. Those are definitely like the more fun moments and stuff. I was really like excited to hear some of the voices too, like Anton Yelchin. I didn't know that he was gonna play one of our lead characters, and then also I know Jamie Lee Curtis and Aubrey Plaza are in there at little quick points within the movie too. Especially Jamie Lee Curtis. She doesn't show up till like the end of the movie. But I was pleasantly surprised to hear her voice and everything. But I really enjoyed the voice cast overall, as well as our main character, Umi, played by Sarah Bolger. Not too familiar with Sarah Bolger, but I thought like she did a fine job and stuff. But I guess like the biggest thing to really talk about with this movie is kind of like the spoilers and stuff. It's not, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say it's a spoiler, but halfways into the movie, we kind of get this big realization where it like changes kind of the overall premise, because at first, I thought this movie was just going to be the simple, like, boy meets girl, they fall in love high school movie. And then I got a crazy 180. And Blaze, how'd you react to finding out that, spoilers, they're brother and sister, long lost brother and sister?
Or at least at that point in the film, you know, like there's this crazy 180 where you're like, oh God, what's going on? Yeah, that definitely gives this weird kind of aspect to the film. You're like, am I supposed to be watching this, you know? But by the end of the film, kind of things are explained further that, you know, that's not the case. But it is definitely one of those like, Scooby-Doo Ruh-Roh moments where you're like,
Yeah.
oh God, what's going on here? What am I watching? Like it has that whole Luke and Leia, effect. But pleasantly surprising, the movie is a little bit deeper than that. That's not actually the case, but it's funny that they have to kind of find out, like, okay, we think that that's it because we have these photos, but why is that not the case? So I did really enjoy that whole aspect, but yeah, it just makes it seem like it's gonna be this weird kind of like incest movie. And
yeah, I was uncomfortable at first because he like realizes like you realize we can't like we have to stop what we're doing. I'm like, wait, what are you all doing? Like, do you guys love each other or not and stuff? And like even Umi like eventually says like, I know that I love you. I know we can't do anything. I was like, wait, what does anything mean though? Like, are you guys saying what I think you're saying and stuff? But yeah, I forgot about the realization though that they're really just like, they're like technically like it's our version of like you and I aren't related, but if we both had kids, like I'd be like, oh, this is Uncle Blaze here. Oh, this is Uncle James here and stuff. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. That's essentially their parents, or essentially, yeah, that's Shun's father who basically cared after Umi and then found her like, what is it, like foster parents essentially, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So
Umi's father, yeah, just helped him find like a new foster dad, even though like he took over for a quick minute there as like a sort of dad, but definitely not like the actual dad though.
Yeah, because the film is post World War II, so you have kind of instances where things happen and people might not have had parents anymore. So it is kind of like an interesting plot, but it does definitely reminded me of Star Wars, where you have like Luke and Leia kiss, and then you're like, oh, what? Like they're like,
yeah.
So I did like that it kind of brought that whole thing, because that is it's an iconic moment, because like Star Wars is such an iconic thing to like popular culture, even though it is such a weird like, oh, is this like, what's going on here,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm generally curious also though just what other people thought when they first saw this movie and stuff, because like yeah, I was a little like what am I watching here and stuff, but yeah, like definitely leave a comment letting us know what you thought about that scene and stuff. But it's definitely not the overall premise of the movie. The premise is trying to find out more about her father and stuff, and these flags and like her relationship with Shun, like as they like start to grow as like friends and stuff, like because overall I'd say it's still pretty platonic. Like there's definitely that like kind of like you see that chemistry between them and stuff. You definitely feel like there is like a lot more to like them like actually like having crushes on each other, but overall it's definitely played off as a lot more platonic. There's like no intimate sequences whatsoever within this movie, but yeah, like and like those aspects are still very fun to watch and stuff and feel very believable. One thing though that I thought was off was like usually with Miyazaki movies, like they get such great voice actors for it. I thought the translation was off a couple times. So I felt like they chose some like wrong words and stuff. Did you get that feel at all? Like I was just like, is that the right word to use there and stuff? Like, I don't know. I just kind of got that vibe while watching the movie.
I did watch the dub. I didn't feel that at any moment, but yeah, I guess maybe the translation going into the dub wasn't the best, but yeah, it didn't like stick out like a sore thumb for me. I think the majority of my time watching this movie with the dub was just kind of like missing Anton Yelchin. Honestly, that shit brought me to tears. Just like, damn, we really lost a talent. It's a talent in such a freak accident too, because there's very like, normal people die from freak accidents. Like very rarely does a celebrity die of a freak accident. Not that it can't happen, of course. I'm not saying that, but I'm just like, there was such a shock where it's like somebody that was at the the beginning of their career, pretty successful, done a handful of films, and a lot of them were pretty good and had a very good head on his shoulder when it comes to picking new projects. He wasn't out there totally chasing the money. He was, still harvesting new talent with picking new directors and
yeah, honestly, like just like still like can't believe like because Thoroughbreds, his last movie, just like was so recent too, and like Green Room is still one of my favorite movies of the past few years, and that doesn't even feel that old and stuff. But yeah, he was a very talented like voice actor also for animated films and stuff too. Like I thought like he was definitely like one of the I'd say his character carried the movie, and part of it all was like carried on his shoulders, I'd say too. Like, of course the visuals are fantastic, and I have like Goro Miyazaki to thank for that. Like, I mean, of course of the entire crew at Studio Ghibli as well too. But like, yeah, it's not like one of the best like Miyazaki movies ever by like his standards or Hayao Miyazaki standards or Studio Ghibli, but it's still a solid watch that I'd say is fun to watch just for like the dorky boys who work at the clubhouse and stuff. Like, they'll definitely generate some laughs and stuff. But yeah, I'm glad I watched this movie. If you haven't been able to check it out, we watched it on HBO Max, but a great way to help us out also is through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below. Be sure to do that and come back here letting us know what you thought about the movie.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
And if you can't get enough of us here on YouTube, you're in luck. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Be sure to catch all our links down below. Anyways, guys, that's going to conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.